months in with the 4C, and I've got to say, don't believe the hype, because I am completely in love with this little car. It is absolutely brilliant, given the fact that it is a handmade, fundamentally carbon fibre chassis mini supercar. It has been realistically a paragon of reliability, not what people would like you to believe. I'm really unfussy because I only get to use it from time to time. I mean, I make sure that I do take it out probably once every 10 days or thereabouts, at least for a spin. Where I can, I warm it up well, and I certainly maintain it nicely. But the car always is willing to go. Probably the worst thing I could say that happens is if it's very wet, then occasionally a rear brake light warning will come on until the car warms up, and presumably it dries itself out. But in terms of presence, pleasure, driving, the whole feel of the car. Now, granted, this has got the AlphaWorks modification to the chassis, so it doesn't tramline all over the place. But contrast that with the fact that I also put on the wheels. So I've gone to the 19s, the teledials, and the reality is that means that with the P0s, I've got a bigger contact patch on the road. So on paper, it should really be messing me around, but it just doesn't. I drive it most of the time in auto, and again, you know, when you listen to some of the bullshit on YouTube where people are like, you got to leave the car in dynamic mode for it to be any good and paddle it manually. It's absolute bullshit. The car is still faster than almost anything else on a B road, and better handling and more fun in the A mode, the efficiency mode, at which point it's getting ridiculous amounts of MPGs. It's unfussy, and also in that mode particularly, the gear changes are lazier, but you know what, they're still plenty quick enough, and the ECU in the car chooses the right gears, so that's where it spends most of its time. I occasionally cycle it just to make sure everything else is working, but I guess the thing about the car is how you feel, or a car is how you feel about it. And I would say with the 4C, it's my favourite car actually that I've ever owned. And as an ex-AlphaWorks driver with Alpha Twin Sparks in Formula 3 and racing an Alpha engine IMSA car back in the day, I do feel an affinity with the brand. But just like my Stelvio that I bought after I got this, even though it's not strictly speaking mine, but I'm using it, it just puts the fun back in motoring, and the Stelvio does the same thing. So it reminds you that certain car companies have got that little bit extra in the DNA. So for me, you can keep your Teutonic perfection. You know, I love racing my Porsche, and I love what Porsche do. Right, fantastic cars, but there's a soul in something Italian, and I would say what it has made me do is hanker after swapping the Stelvio for a Quadrifoglio Stelvio, because it's just that whole Alpha thing, the dynamic of the car. It's fun, it's not practical particularly, but it's really well made. And if you've got the right people, i.e. the independents like Veloci in London, who are great, AlphaWorks, great. If you've got that quality of people looking after you, then I would say don't be put off. But I know people still will be, because everybody goes for the safe option, and that's the way I like it, because it means that there's more of these specialist cars for the people who appreciate them. Steve Deeks, 8 months in and out.